Hey there everyone, it's Colleen with Artwork by Colleen. It's been a while since I've made a character cane, so I thought let's do Pua. And then in the next video or so, I'm gonna do Hey Hey and finally Moana. So in order to do this, actually this has been the most time consuming part, I think. Maybe not, we'll see how long the actual cane takes, but I mixed some colors first. So you want to mix probably more than you need because there's literally nothing worse. Well, maybe there are a few things that are worse, but it really sucks if you run out of clay of a color that you've mixed, especially me because I use all kind of different colors to mix them up. Anyway. So this gray that I used, I just wanted to note that it's actually, I lightened it up a little bit, but it's largely the piece of clay that I made from the previous video when I showed taking my scrap clay and putting the blackout in there. So I needed a gray because you can see he's got all these gray spots here. So I thought, hey, why not use that one since it's not quite solid black. Here I've got some black, and that's mostly for the little things like the inside of his mouth and the inside of the nostrils, eyes, things like that. By the way, they have the little legs here, but I'm only going to focus on the face and ears because that's all I want to focus on. So this is a thick black piece for those. I've also got some thin black over here, and I have got a couple of other pieces that I'm going to roll out one at the time. And this is on the thinnest one, and that's so I can cover everything, and it just makes everything you're doing pop a little bit better. Here I've got the dark maroon, and you look inside the mouth, you'll see some maroon inside there as well as inside the nostrils. And it actually kind of even looks like his eyes have that in there, but we'll see when we get to that. Maybe, maybe not. I'm not really sure about that. So it's kind of the biggest thing is kind of deciding where, not really the biggest. I don't know why I said that. But one of the important things when you're making a character cane is the starting point. And it doesn't really matter all that much. I've tried it from top to bottom, bottom to top. All different ways. I think I'm going to start here with the nose just because it's a good focal point. And yeah, so I'm going to start the nose by making two little small black, kind of more oval shapes, and I'll have a thin line there, but let's start with the black oval shape first, and then I'm going to go cover with a little bit of maroon. Let me get that going, and I'll be back in a minute. All right, I'm back. I made my two little nostrils. Now I am going to go and put this little bit of maroon in there. So to do that, can you see this? Nope, too far out of the screen. Let's try this a little bit closer. So I reduced this clay here down to like a maybe 3 on my pasta machine. And so I'm going to scoop it in that way. And we want it to kind of just be angled, so we're going to angle it that way, and let's see where that leads us. Flip it over. That's maybe going to be a little bit too much, so we'll take that off. And if we make it, it's just going to kind of go under. Kind of go under the oval like this. About all we want. It's just supposed to be like a little shadow, and already we're increasing its size, which always happens. That's why I usually start, by the way, at about 1.75 inches because we end up gaining a little here and there, but you can see that's kind of what the nostril looks like. And if you wanted it to be a little more squishly that way, you like my terms, squishily. Okay, so that's the first nostril, and I think we're good with that. I am going to cover that in black, and then I'm going to do the other one. So in order to cover it in black, we're just going to go over here, if you can see over here, and let's see if I can shine my light a little bit that way. And basically, you just need to cover the maroon area because obviously Hello Black is already black, so don't need to really cover that. So you just want to go up underneath here. I have the Atlas 150, which was quite an awesome birthday present for me. Anyway, and so on the lowest one, on a 9, because it starts at 0, it's pretty thin. It's kind of like, I would say, closest to paper thin as you can get. I love it. I think it's pretty awesome. So there we go. One nostril's done, and then I'm gonna go get the other one. Okay, so now I've got my 2 little nostrils. Right. The next thing to do is to cover those with 1 layer of pink, because I feel like 1 layer is gonna go around but not impinge on over its area. So I'm just gonna take on, and I think I'm just gonna hedge it like that so we can overlap them. All right, and I'm going to, we don't need it that long, so we're gonna snip that part off. Okay, just on the edge of the screen, but I think we got it. I'm slowly gonna cover that. When I get to the overlap, then I'm gonna kind of do it this way so it overlaps, but it should make an even, there you go, pretty much an even round. All right, so now let's line it up. You know, so I don't worry about too much about these ends that are not perfect, because when you start reducing, you're going to lose the very end of it anyway. So don't stress about that too much. All right, so here we are. We're going to put 1 nostril right here, and we're going to do the same thing with the other nostril and come back. Okay, now I'm just going to go and fill in the spots around his snout till I can get one. Like, I'll probably just do one side, fill it around here to fill this area up, and then put that straight line across in black. Okay, now that I have one side done, then it's going to be easy for me to come in here and put in that black line. And you just want it as a kind of a center point for the snout to separate the two sides. And yeah, it's just a thin line. So just be careful. You don't want to go all the way. You don't want to go all the way to the end of the snout. You want to have some pink on the other sides of it. Oh, there it went. I wonder what happened to that piece. Flew onto the pink. Oh well, that's life. Okay, so anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and put this piece up here and basically do the same thing. I'm going to wrap it around, and then I'll be back. Okay, now that the nose has got its main part done, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to outline it in black. And then if you look here, you see a little teeny tiny piece of pink. So I'm going to take that down to its thinnest one, put that on top, put another black on it. By the way, the easiest way to wrap this in black is just to lay it on it and roll it around. All right. I took this and
text Dan to 989898 and protect your.
Put this at a 5. To see, because I didn't want it to be too thick, but I also wanted it to actually show up a little bit. So I think a 5 is going to work out just fine. And there you go. Just gives it a little hint of that there's something beyond that nose, like that it has more depth. I guess that's a good word to put it. And then we're just going to take a little piece of the 9 that's all the way down. Even out the end. Like that. And go ahead and put it up here. And finish out his nose really cutely. There we go. He's looking pretty sharp, yeah? I guess if I move my fingers out the way, you'd see it even better. So, we've got the snout done. Now the easiest next piece is going to be, there we go, is going to be just putting a little piece of white across here. Now I'm going to use the thin, see how this white is, the black is just here, so I would say that's probably about a 2, maybe 3. So I'm going to roll that down, but I'm going to put it all the way from here to here, just because I think that once I put the eye pieces on, that'll probably work out really well. So I'm going to go roll that white piece out and put it on there and show you. Okay, so here you see I put the white. I put the little piece of black. Now I put a really thin piece of white, and then this other little, see, little hint of black right there? It's just a really small one. It's going to be about half the size of the other one. I just lop off a tiny little piece. Pick it up and stick it on there. And now at this point, we're ready to just fill in the white. So, I mean, obviously it's more than that, but there we go. So I would say with that, the snout area is done. So if we come down this way, I think the next logical step is going to be to do the mouth. I could go either way. I could go up the white, but I think I'm going to get the mouth done next. To do that first, I'm going to put these little corner white pieces in here so that I can put his little smile up. All right, so I'm cutting, I cut kind of a triangular piece, but it kind of is flat on the top. It's not a perfect triangle because I'm going to stick it in here. I'm going to put it against the snout like that. And push it around, fit it in there. Now I'm able to run the little piece that's going to be for the smile and also this little piece here. So to do the first little smile part, I'm just going to add, man, you got to be careful with this super thin one, because when I say it's thin, I mean paper thin. So we're going to come along and make that smile piece. And now we know where his little smile is, which fits along with that white. Now we got his smile in place. Lob off the little extra on the top. I always keep a stack of extra pieces because I'm going to end up using them again. Now I'm going to, let's see, his smile. You know, there's just a little tiny, teeny gershmidgel of white. Totally made up word. Oh, that one's too thin. Let's try this again. Just a really thin layer. I'm gonna even it off at the bottom, because when I come and make this wraparound of the little end corner smile, I notice that it just has a little bit of white that it's going to wrap around. So I'm going to come and put a little piece of white there. Y'all can see that. And then we'll come back with another little thin piece. I'm going to go ahead and even off the bottom first. Put that over with my stockpile. And then I'm going to come here and wrap it. So I don't know how well y'all can see that. But it's wrapped just ever so slightly around the edge. And I think, in theory, when I cut this top off, I can't see above me. So, oops. That's an extra piece out of nowhere. There you go. Now it's going to be that smile piece. Now when we add the rest of the white on there, you'll see he's smiling. All right. I'm going to do the other side the exact same way. Except it's more of just a little triangle piece, but I'm going to do it the exact same way. All right. Now we have the snout done. We got the smile line done. So what we're going to do next is make his mouth. I feel like maybe I should come up a little bit more, give a little more definition. There we go. All right, so this section's going to be, we're going to do it in black. Maybe it's supposed to be dark, but we're going to do it in black, and we're going to do this one in maroon. So in order to do that, I just am simply going to sometimes my camera doesn't really go where I want it to go. And I really am sorry about all the mess on either side. Whoa! And when I hit the camera, that's also unfortunate. But I kind of have Oreos, and you really shouldn't be seeing that, but there it is. So I kind of just am a mess when I'm working. Maybe for Mother's Day, my daughter will organize my work area for me. I really could use that. Anyway, I don't see that happening, but it'd be really nice. So I'm just going to go and put in the little, where the lines are. Just going to slice down straight that way. It's pretty easy. You just kind of fill in the blanks. It's the same as we make the other canes. I'm just going to put another row there and then come in with the maroon around the edge. Now that I have the black all in for the mouth, I'm going to go ahead and stick in this maroon side piece right here. Oops. Which I think will give his mouth a good... There we go. Let's lob off a little bit on the top there and smooth it out this way. There you go. Then we're going to do the other side the exact same way. All right, now we have everything but the tongue in there. So what we need to do is wrap these two maroon pieces in black, and then we'll put the tongue in, and then we'll put the black on the bottom of the tongue. All right, so, ooh, almost ripped that piece. So now we have the mouth all in place. You can see, I think you can see. I made it a little too high. Okay, whatever. All right, we'll just push it down with our fingers. Okay. Improvise, adapt, overcome. Right. Okay, anyway, here we go. So now we've got his little snout in place. We've got his mouth in place. I think at this point, the smart move would be to finish up his chin right here. He's kind of cute. I mean, he's very cute. I think he's a cute character. But anyway, so I'm going to come around with a full thickness of white, like a full slice. And then we'll put the black for the chin and then come with a V here. So let me go with the full slice and see where we're at. All right, so as you can see here, I've got the white around his mouth. And I'm going to go ahead and put what's basically his chin line. And I did not allow for enough black, but that's not a big deal. So we're just going to cut this one off. So usually I do the sped up version of my videos, but I decided for this one that I would just piece it together like this and not shorten it up. So maybe for those who, well, you know, actually, as a matter of fact, as a matter of fact, I actually pretty much did go all the way that I need. Yeah, you know, I'll put like another 1/8 of an inch maybe. Just chop that little puppy off right there. Just go up a little bit further. Not a big deal. Doesn't take much to add to it, and according to the line I see here, that'll just make it about exactly right. Okay. And once you reduce it, you're never going to notice that there was a line there dividing it up. So that it was two pieces. It'll go on smoothly. So it's no big deal. So here you see we're going to put a triangle and come up with the white spot here. So let's see. So this is what ends up happening. You end up getting it a little bit bigger. What I'm going to do ultimately, if you can see, it's kind of cockeyed, isn't it? If you can see that the eyes, what I have is to right here. The eyes are almost right there, but on this side, if I put it here, then it's not exactly perfectly aligned. So what I end up doing is fixing that part and going down a little bit. But we'll look at that in a minute. Let's get this mouth done. So we're here. And we're kind of here. Go like that. And then we'll fill in this white section and then go for the eye. Okay, so just so you can see the progress as it's going along, I'm just adding the white I'm doing the cutout for the eye because I'm going to put the eye in there next. And then if you look, you see his little eye's got like a little line by it. So I put that line in there. We're getting close to the end part. I might have to put a little bit in there because it's kind of got a divot and I didn't really want that. But that's just part of the building process. So if I take this little piece right here, smush it out a little bit. And this is kind of on the flat. I hope you can see this. No, probably not. Oh, shoot. Broke it. That's okay. Now we can see it. Barely. Let's move the camera. There we go. So I just took this little extra piece. And I'm just going to kind of shave off the edges just a little bit. Angle them out. Scoop it up like so. And I'm going to go put it in this little area that seems to have kind of a divot.
Talk to you later.
Yeah, I'm not really sure why she just out of the blue started talking to me. Very weird. I don't like how she listens, but whatever. Moving on. Okay, so that smooths that out better. It's just a little bit more. I think I'm going to go and put some white up here so I can accentuate these little, I don't know, I guess they're supposed to be like little hairs. So I'm going to put the piece of black here and then overlap the white. Let me be back in a minute. All right, so just to give you an idea what that looks like, I put the little piece of black here. Now I'm going to come over it. I'm going to overlap it a little bit so you'll get some of the definition on it. Sorry if my finger covered that. And just push this to up here. Then, while I have your camera on still, I'm going to go ahead and take another piece. I love how thin this is, but at the same time, it's super delicate. Okay, and I'm just going to cover that black right there, the white rather, and I'm going to come up a little further on it, which is going to then make it like that. There we go. And then I'll do probably just one more, but I'll have to fix some of this white. I don't know if you can see, but it's a hot mess here. So I don't know what happened exactly. My Kato white, maybe because it's not sealed, but I don't really seal all of my clays that I just keep in my drawer. But this one just crumbled really bad. And I haven't used the clay conditioner because I feel like that's for another video and I'm just trying to make the best of this. But I'm going to run this through, thin it back out, and then I'll be back. All right, so I'm about to do a little circle. I've got his eye going here. Kind of hard to see, but there's a little white dot. Anyway, I'm about to do some gold around his eye. In here it shows brown. But fun fact, this came out of my printer like kind of like a peachy pink. But online it looks like a straight up pinky pink. So whatever, I tried to make mine a little more pinky. I'm just going with it the way it is. But anyway, I took the copper color and the gold color from the Kato Polyclay and I mixed a little piece together because I'm not going to need very much. I'm probably going to thin this down to like, I don't know, maybe a 6. So let me go do that real quick. Okay, here I am back. So I actually ended up making it a 5. Go right in between. I'm just going to come here, get all this clay out the way, cut off the raggedy ends. You really don't have to, but since I have enough to do it, I'm going to go ahead and do it that way. And actually, I probably don't even need to make it quite this long because I think these 2 eyes are more than what I need. But anyway, be that as it may. So I'm going to put this all the way around, make his eyes gold. I'm just going to do it the whole circle because I'm going to actually cut this in half after I finish wrapping it and turn it into 2 eyes. All right, so that's my leftover scrap over there. I'm just going to set that there for now. I'm going to roll this a little bit so I can smooth out the line. And that's going to be, well, it's kind of hard to see that way because you can't see the white. Let's see. Yep, there's the white. So there you go. Okay, so now I'm going to take it and I'm going to cut it into, I feel like, has this really grown? It's pretty much still 1 3/4 inches. I'm very impressed because normally they end up somehow growing a little bit as I do them sometimes. But okay. So I'm just going to cut this into 1 3/4 and 1.5 inches. 1.5 inches is 3.5 inches. So 1, 2, 3.5. Yep, that's right where I thought it was supposed to be. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm gonna just do a little bit extra because why not? And 1 3/4 and just eyeball it. Okay, so I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it in the really thin black, and then we'll come back. Shoot, I think I'm okay. So I'm gonna make this a little bit of a change. Instead of this one doesn't have the gold all the way completely around. That's close enough though. I think I'm gonna do it anyway. Actually, before I do that, I'm gonna try to go ahead and add that white and black one, or else I'll never get it in there properly. Okay, I'm back. So I did the eye. You're gonna put the black and white, little smidge of white, black in there. Then I rolled it out, split it in half, put the gold around it. Then I split it, I think. Anyway, I cut it. I put the black around it. Then I put some white for the white of the eye. Then I covered that in black. Now we'll be able to set the eye in place where it needs to be. There we go. Okay. So now with the eye in place, we want to make sure we line it up with that little line we already got that we're committed to. Okay. Now, that being said, we can work a little bit on the other side. I think before I go and do this part, I think I want to get that other eye in place. I'm going to leave it a little bit longer for now, just in case I have to smush up this side a little bit, then I wouldn't lose any more. So I'll be back when I start working on this other side. Just to show you quickly how I did the eye. So I cut it at an angle so you can see that it tapers in. And then wherever I want it to end, which is going to be probably right around here, you can go lay it down. Then you can take your knife. Make sure y'all can see that. Yeah. Take your knife and just slide it in, and which is going to give you, see, it's going to alternate and curve it down on the other end so that it tapers down so you don't have two big chunks, because that's not really what you want. And then you're just going to lob off the extra white. Stick it in your pile, which is a hot mess over here. And then you're going to cover it with a thin black, and you'll be able to add it to this side. Alrighty, so here's where we are on Pua. It's time to start making his little, I don't know what you call it, fur or whatever. Sorry for the dogs barking in the background. Gotta love them though. They're my babies. All right, so just gonna cut it real thin. Oops. So as it turns out, I think my intuition served me well for once. I did not reduce, I didn't cut that down, and I ended up building up his face a little bit more. All right, so, you know, I really had issues with this, this silly old clay. I don't understand what's the issue with it. I'm guessing it's old. I'm guessing I possibly should have put the conditioning stuff in with it, but anyway, whatever. I didn't, and moving on. Okay, so let's pick up here. We're just going to put one more right there. We're going to come here and we're going to kind of cut it right there. Yeah, that looks about good. Okay. And then we're going to put another piece of black. I'm not going to put the black yet because it's going to go all the way around. So, that being said, this guy's not getting eyelashes. I think he'll be okay without his little lines on his eyes. Maybe I could put a little top line. If you notice, when we come over this way, oh, it's not quite lined up perfectly. It's because life. This is what happens a lot with canes. It is also possibly the downside of doing the, let's try filling that in a little bit, of doing the middle first and working your way out. I've literally done it all different kind of ways, and I honestly don't know what the best. Anyway, the next thing I think I'm going to do is put the gray right here and put the black around it. And for that, I'm just going to take a piece of this gray. Hopefully it splits. Oh, look, it didn't rip all up. Wow. That's a nice change of pace considering what's been happening today, but that's another story. Anyway, okay. So let's get back in the camera view. Wow. Hopefully you saw that other stuff. Some days my camera abilities seem pretty limited. All right, so real quick, we're just gonna fill in the gray areas and we're gonna cover it with black. Let me show you this real quick though. Before I put that gray on, the first piece I'm gonna put on is gonna be butted up right against that white. And so that I don't have any issues, I'm just gonna trim that a little bit. And that one. Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead and put it on like that so that you see it's already got its black lining against there. That way it should line up pretty well. And then we're going to come over here, and if you look at it, it doesn't go all the way to the bottom of his eye, but it goes part of the way. So we're going to push it up against here, and then we're going to come and we're going to cut it at a fairly steep angle, and then kind of just push it into the eye. And then when we come here, we want the flat end. So I'm going to cut this flat. And then if I come off the screen, I'm really, really sorry. I'm definitely not trying to, but sometimes life doesn't go exactly the way you planned it. Anyway, so putting that to the bottom here, we're going to try to line it up with this piece that's already here so that I can go ahead and put the black on it. I'm going to meet it right there. And we're going to follow this line, and we're going to lob it off right about there. I'd say precision matters, but honestly, it doesn't really. It does, but it doesn't. And then for the last little tiny piece, I think I'm just going to stay out of the camera view for the rest of the day, apparently. Okay, I'm just going to cut this angle, and then I'm going to just angle it straight down so that I end up with a little piece that looks something like this. And then I'm just going to put it on there, and that'll round out the end of his little gray spot. Then you can take your blade, push them together here, kind of form it if it needs to be shaped up a little bit. I think it's mostly okay. And then we're just going to come with some black. I'd rather take a little more than a little less. Trim off the end, even it out. I don't know where my black junk pile is, right there. And here we go. So we're going to start at the inside because that's where we're trying to match the other one. Theoretically, it should shove all the way in there so that it matches up with the other piece. Then we can just go around, and if we're lucky, kind of end. So I'm just gonna like slice it down a little bit like that. Pull it off. Needs a little tiny bit of gray shown, but you can just roll the clay over it like that to cover it up. There we go. Scrap pile. Evened off. I'm just gonna even that out a little bit. Evened off. There we go. And now you have his gray spot over his eye. And the next thing we're going to do is, that's actually, okay, if I look at that, that's a little bit thicker, so it kind of acts as his eyebrow. So I think I'll just take a piece of black, which I still have some black over here that I haven't used, and I'm going to run it through the pasta machine because I need it a little bit thinner and also a little bit wider. So give me a minute for that. Okay, I ended up going on 2. If you're tracking along with me. All right, so that's going to be flat along this end because that's going to go at the top edge here. And then I'm just going to slowly try semi-evenly to taper it down. Pull that away. Scoop this up and taper it up, and hopefully it kind of looks like his eyebrow. There we go. Because on the other side, if you notice, he has a whole legit eyebrow. But on this side, not so much. But okay, so it's kind of an eyebrow. Hopefully, once we reduce it, it'll look a little bit thicker. And again, this side is just the white, so I'm not going to worry about that too much. I might see if I can add a little smidgel of that white in there. I mean, it's literally just here. Just let's cut that off. And maybe cut to there. I think I'm going to need to make this a little bit longer, so I can just squeeze it out a little bit. And then, yeah. So we'll come in here to this corner. Sometimes it's hard to get into corners. That's why you make those V shapes. I mean, if you do, it's sometimes a good way to do it is take your, not the sharp side, but the other side of your tissue blade, and you can just kind of shove it in there. Now you can see we got all the way in there. Now I can take a little bitty, just tiny piece of white. I mean, black. Listen, apparently I've been doing this too long, but okay. Take a little piece of black, put it over there, and that gives a little definition. Showing, yeah, there you go. Perfect. So now it's a matter, at this point, of filling in the white right here, and then we'll come up to the eyebrow, okay? It's pretty straightforward. All right, so I got the white done on both sides, and now we're gonna work on this eyebrow here. Maybe it doesn't need to be quite this big. And it's kind of rounded on the end, but I'm not as concerned with that as getting it in there right. Stretch it up just a little bit because it was a smidge short, but that's okay. Yeah, so his eyebrow's way further over, isn't it? Okay, no, there's that. All right, so I got that done. Now we're gonna be back to finishing. We're gonna kind of finish the white along here. I'm gonna put this piece and then put some black over it and put this gray in there. All right, so I've got the eyebrow covered. I've got this head done. I'm about to put some black around the sides here. Let me trim that off first. There we go. I'm gonna start here. Can y'all see that? I hope so. And then we're just gonna go straight into here because basically it's at the top and then it goes in where the little gray spot's going to be. So now we've got that side done. Can actually go ahead and, can we do this side? Yeah, we actually can go ahead and do that side. Something that I think I've said before, but I want to reiterate again. When doing these canes, I call them character canes, but anytime you're doing where you're kind of clay by numbers, filling in the clay to make a picture, it's important to remember that you want to keep the majority of it like the picture, so the details are really nice on it and it looks like what you're trying to make it look like. But at the same time, just remember you don't have to necessarily put in every single detail of the picture, because I knew I was going to end up doing that. Every single detail of the picture, because it's not necessarily beneficial. Like sometimes little pieces and parts aren't going to be missed. Like if, let's see, there's 3 little whisker things here and you only put 2. At the end of the day, it's really not going to make a big difference. But if he's supposed to, if he's supposed to have 2 hands and he only has 1, you know, that would be a difference. Anyway, at this point, I have to fill in this white here and then put the gray. But I think I'm going to take this black and kind of go, I don't know if you can see that or not. I cut a little, here, I'll show you over here. I cut a little piece off there and kind of did it crooked because if you see, I went in crooked there. And when I fill in the rest of that gray, I want to make sure that there's no white touching it. All right, so now that that's finished, I can go in and then I can stick my gray in here, which is just a matter of cutting it and angling it. Let's see, probably about that long. I try not to cut it like to infinity, like till it ends. I try to give it a little bit of edge because this one does have a little bit of space on the edge. I don't know if that makes sense to y'all. Hopefully it does. All right, so that's the first piece. And then I'm going to kind of do another one just like that. So since I've already got an edge cut here, then all I need to do is come over here with the straight piece. If it's, see, that's kind of a severe cut, but you can also take it and just soften the clay a little bit, push it down like that. And then you can come here and, gosh, I don't know why I keep not going to the bottom. And then come here, make that piece right there. Now I am gonna come here and trim it just a little bit. Actually, the black went, you know what? I'm gonna push it all the way to the black just because the black went a little further than I expected. So anyway, okay, so now before I can finish putting on the rest of that white, I need to cover at least that section of black where it's going to be, the white's going to be touching it, because I don't want to get that messed up. So this one's going to be a little bit short to go all the way around the gray, but I think I can get it the majority of the way around. So I'm just going to come in here, take my blade, give it a good firm push in to make the nice tight corner bend. And then come around here. Oh, actually, it's almost perfect. Well, sometimes you luck out, you know? What can I say? Sometimes you do, and then again, sometimes you definitely don't, or at least I don't. But that's okay, because God's with me all the time, and the mess up usually teaches me something down the road. That's the way I look at it. A valuable lesson learned that I try not to repeat when I really screw up bad. But that's okay. Like, you know, I don't know why that's there. But all right. So now we have Ow. Now at this point, I just need to put this triangle in here, and then we're ready to work on the ears and be done. Alrighty, now that Pua's head's done, we just have to do his ears and he'll be complete. If I say it really quickly, it doesn't sound like a lot of work, right? Right. So I'm going to pull this pink apart because it's been sitting together so long. It kind of stuck together a little bit. It's fine. I'm going to put it through the pasta machine a couple times so I can get the right width and then start cutting pieces. So there's a couple of ways you can do it. You could either run the lines this way or run them this way. It doesn't really matter, I don't think, honestly. It's just whatever your preference is. But the reason I'm doing them this way is, I don't know, just because. I just decided doing this way, and then I'll put a black line along there and run that small one because I went ahead and made a thin one while I was cutting these out. You're going to angle this a little bit. And I feel like it's going to cut it close to having enough pink, but it's going to have to be enough because I don't have any more of this pink. So we're going to make it work. Okay. I think we'll be fine. Again, this time I'm going to do it a little more of an angle just so I can wrap that in a little bit. Now, if you noticed, that line only goes that far. So it actually only goes halfway to this. However, oh well, most of the way. Anyway, I think it'll be fine. What I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to cut a piece of the black to stick on there as I'm working on it so that I'll know after I do that, then I can go and make it all the way to the end. So I come over here and I push it in, use my blade to shove it up against there. Cut off the top to even it out, keep it pushed in there. And then I'm gonna come over here and even it out. Again, this is one of those things where I don't think it's like you have to be exactly exact about where this line ends on here, just as long as you pick a spot and stick with it. All right, so now I'm gonna come, while I'm at that section, I'm gonna go ahead and put in this little piece that's thin that goes along the bottom, which is really just gonna accentuate and sort of highlight the bottom part of the ear. It just gives it a little more, I don't know, we'll go with pizzazz. All right, I'm just gonna slightly angle it, just very slightly, so that I can push it up against here and it goes all the way to the edge. And then now I'm gonna come here and push it along there. And then I'm gonna come here and just trim off the excess because that was totally a guesstimate of how long I thought I'd need. Wasn't too far off. And putting it back in the pink pile. Now with the rest of them, I can just, I don't need that one right now. I can just put this to the very end. Let's see, I might need to trim it down very little bit of an angle. Not much of an angle at all, practically straight. Because now we're getting to the end and we're not gonna need much angling. I'm gonna go to right there. Now we're gonna start evening that up. There we go. And let's cut that almost straight. There we go. Now, if it's these lines aren't absolutely perfectly perfect, you can come back in and you can kind of push them together a little bit and form them like you need to readjust it, because it is clay and it does have some give to it. All right, we're getting close to the end now. Just a couple more. Hope this isn't boring you. I haven't really kept y'all doing this whole thing like this because I really was trying not to bore you. I kind of forgot to turn the video camera off, so I'm just letting it do its thing. And then this is basically going to be the last little section. So for this last section, I'm just going to like make a triangle and lob it on the end. There we go. And there's that part. Now I need to cover all that with black, and then I can come here and put the white and gray. Okay, now I got the pink part in for his ear. Just gonna come around and outline that with the black. Cover it around the edge, that little teeny tiny edge. Okay, and trim the top, and then I can come with the coat of white, or layer of white, whatever. There we go. Okay, that ear's just about done. All I have to do is put the black across the gray and white area, and then it's on to the other ear. All right. Just easy way and match it up. Push it on there. Trim off a little bit of excess. And we are almost home free. Just one more ear. I think he's really cute though. All right. So again, on this ear, now if you look at this ear, you see it's a little bit different. It doesn't have the pink bottom like this one does. Why they did two different ones, no idea, but I'm just following along with the design. So this one's got one piece of white along here, and then it's got the pink. So that's what I'm gonna start with, the white first. I gotta roll a piece in the pasta machine that's a little bit thinner. Oh, never mind. This is a thinner piece right here, just kidding. Okay. So let's see, I'm gonna cut it straight there. I guess it's hard for y'all to see, and gonna angle it. And then I'm gonna put that here. Actually, before I do that, because it's gonna be up against the pink, I'm gonna go ahead and line it with the black. And actually, to be fair, I can actually put the black on both sides because it'll actually be on both sides. So that's fair. All right. So put the black on both sides. Works better if you put the sharp part under there. All right. So here we go. We got the first part of the ear. We're gonna fold it over a little bit there. And then we're just gonna start building in the pink. Turn it this way so we can see it more easily. Or at least I can. And now I'm just gonna cut pink pieces to build it in. I mean, I don't know. It might have been easier to start from the edge of the other edge of the pink. Honestly, I'm not really sure. And to be fair, at this point, I've been doing this the entire afternoon, so I'm kind of getting ready to be finished. All right. So now I'm gonna have to take some of this pink I got here left over and go ahead and roll it out to make my final cuts, and then I'll be back. Okay, as you can see here, the pink's done, and I just need to wrap it with the black. Which I'm going to start in the inside here. And I'm going to wrap it around to the back side. Like I said, if it overlaps just a tiny bit, it's kind of doesn't really matter, because once you reduce it down, you're not going to notice, especially when it's super thin like this, you're not going to notice one little smidge another piece. All right, so the last section is the white, and then I got that little hint of gray, and then we can call it a day. I'm so excited. All right, so it's been a fun, I appreciate y'all joining me for this. I hope you've learned a lot with it. I've kind of learned a lot with it. All right. I've learned that I haven't done a cane in a hot minute. That's what I remember. All right, so I'm just gonna push this in here. I think I need to stretch it up a little bit. So I'm just gonna squeeze it a little, so stretch it out, make it a little bit taller so it matches the rest. I can push this down on there. Here, the ear is gonna end. I might have pushed on the black a little too hard because this is where it ends, but I didn't miss by much, so that's okay. Okay, so there we go, perfect. When I was putting the rest of it together over there, putting the other stuff in the machine, I just went ahead and rolled the rest of the white clay through it so I could hurry up and get this part done. I hate to seem so rushed. I gotta work at the crack of dawn tomorrow morning, and yeah. So there's that part. All right. I think I'm just gonna, I'm gonna take a piece of this gray. I was thinking I was done with the gray. I'm gonna push this out and roll it out. I cut out this little piece of gray. I almost forgot, but I remembered at the last second. Before I go ahead and put it in there against the white, I want to put the black around the edge because that's the part that's going to be touching the white. And like I said, it's, you know, it's not an absolute that you do it, but I will say this, the few canes that I haven't put the black in between as an outline, they're really not quite as vibrant. So if you're going for something that's more muted or, I don't know, more subdued maybe, I guess is a better term, then you don't really have to do the outlines. I wish I'd made that white a little bit taller. Maybe I can go and add this little bit of white here because I feel like we're lacking. Although I know it's going to end up not being used in the end because in the end I'm going to end up losing all that end piece. All right. Now I'm going to put this white piece here and I'm going to form it. I'm going to push it up to the gray. And then even it out there. I'm going to get that last piece to cover from here to here of black, which this should do it, and then a little bit. Okay. All right. And now, booyah. We have finished making the cane. Yay. All right, so sometimes it gets a little wonky looking. I mean, I think he's really, gosh, he's so cute. Gets a little wonky looking, but sometimes the other side, look, it's even cuter on the other side. So I'm really excited. I can't wait to reduce it. Before we reduce it, I'm gonna cover it with some scrap clay. So I used to always just use the translucent clay to cover all my canes with before I reduced them. But during the pandemic, it was really difficult to be able to find translucent clay. I mean, it was kind of difficult for a while to find any clay. So I have a couple of containers that I'm filled with my, what I call marble squares, which are just sort of leftover pieces. So I'm going to go grab one of those and then I'm going to show you how I cover it that way. All right, so basically I have to have my phone charging for a little while because it's definitely running out of juice. I picked this one. I try to pick ones that are kind of not the exact same color, so it's easier. That's got a couple of the same color-ish, but it's mostly like primarily kind of greenish. And then the way I'm gonna do it is, see if I can do this with one hand while I hold the camera. I don't really know. But I usually slice them down like this. Hold on. So I usually make slices like this, then I run it through the pasta machine to the thickest, and then I just start covering it with that until I get to a point where I'm ready to start reducing it. All right, you guys, I've been reducing this thing. I showed, there's a picture of it, y'all will see. Y'all saw a minute ago. Sadly, my daughter called me and I was talking to her on the way home, so I couldn't video while I was doing that. So here we go. Here's a moment of truth, and I'm scared. Aww, he's really cute. Look at him. So anyway, there you go, guys. There's Pua. I hope you guys enjoyed watching the video. I hope it wasn't too long for y'all. Thanks for joining me. If you could like my video, share it if you want to, subscribe if you haven't done so yet. You guys have an awesome day. Again, it's Colleen with Artwork by Colleen. Bye-bye.